we walked right into a very well-executed ambush.
Before I could react, the next round hit me behind my left ear.
Definitely moments from my first deployment that I was sort of blaming myself for.
We had lost Marines and soldiers that we were tasked with protecting.
If you are not in the military, you don't understand what we actually go through on an everyday basis.
But the reality is PTSD is probably more of a wound than a physical wound.
Unlike wounds that everyone can see with their eyes, you know, it's internalized by our veterans, and they, unfortunately, are really good in internalizing things.
I've always felt very strongly that people who serve our country aren't taken care of once they come home, and that's always bothered me.
And I stood right over here on the Hudson River on my lunch break at work, and I called, and less than 24 hours later, I was in an office talking to somebody. It changed my life.
The VA does a lot of things very well, but they really weren't hitting the mark in terms of offering expert trauma treatment to veterans who really needed it.
Nationally, and this is every day, about 20 to 22 veterans commit suicide.
What this organization does is tries very hard to make sure that we all know and they all know that it's an injury the same as any other, and there's no shame in treating it the way you would treat any other injury.
We are starting exactly where the client is and at exactly the time the client wants to start, which is super key. So we're a strike while the iron is hot organization.
Within hours, you're in contact with someone. Within a day, you're doing an intake, and then you're connected to best-in-class psychiatrists and therapists in your home market.
In 2012, we had one client that saw one therapist, that's me.
Fast forward to 2019, we've treated over 1,500 clients, provided over 40,000 clinical sessions of therapy. From New York City, we are now in 25 cities and 11 states.
I think there's an open dialogue with the Headstrong mission, and I love that. I think there's a sort of unabashed conversation that happens, particularly in public, and that there's nothing to be ashamed of.
I think it's misconstrued out there about how much help is out there for veterans in general. There's only about 50 veteran organizations that are conducting operations and programs of $5 million in value per year. When you break down those 50 organizations into mental health buckets, it's even smaller.
I know exactly to the dollar what I spend and give to them, what it's gonna do for treatment, right? If I spend $5,000, I know I'm treating a veteran for a year. If I spend $100, all that makes a difference.
$5,000 is such a small sum.
The Marine Corps taught me how to survive, but Headstrong taught me how to live.
Together,
we
can make trauma
just a memory.